Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. There's many significances that one can tease out from the idiom that we repeat when somebody has died. We say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. That verily that person has come from Allah, we come from Allah, and we go back to Allah. And it occurs to me that we need to examine this, the implication of where we have come from and where we're going back to. The most significant and oft-repeated expression or description of the nature of Allah is if you say Allahu Ahad, Qul Huwallahu Ahad, He's one. So we have come from a oneness, a continuity, into this world of separation, of distinction, of alienation, and of removal, and we're going back to that unity. The first truth of the oneness that contains everything is that its nature has to be, His nature has to be a nature of love, because it is the nature of love to connect, to bring together. It is the nature of enmity and hatred to separate, to make distinction. So we've come from a place of the most joyful, loving connectedness, of being one with, blissful, into this realm of suffering and of alienation and separation. And we're going to go back to that realm of bliss. I think this is true fundamentally. In this sense, death is not a tragedy, death is a homegoing. I had a guest some time ago who had left me with an intriguing insight as to this place that we have been parachuted into, this realm of separation, this interspace between before being here, the oneness that we came from, and the after being here, the oneness we're going back to. What is the nature of this place? He said, this is the most terrifying reality, because this is a reality that life to live has to eat life. The nature of this place is the exact opposite of where we've come from. We've come from a place where differences are not significant, where we are connected, where two beings can exist at the same place. Because when you're connected, when you're united, it means two beings are occupying the same place. When you are separated, it means two beings cannot occupy the same place. Which means we've come from a place of fundamental harmony and of being together into this place of disharmony, dispute and separation, where it appears as if the fundamental rule of being alive means for me to live, it's competitive. For me to win, you have to lose. We cannot occupy the same space. For me to occupy space, I have to remove you. For me to live, you have to die. So there's these two ways of looking at life. One way of looking at life that is very consistent with this materialist worldview that is sort of propagated with this Darwinian understanding that we are fundamentally in a competition here, that the survival of the fittest is the fundamental rule of existence. The survival of the fittest says that there's an Afrikaans expression for this: die een se dood is die ander se brood. The one's death is the other one's bread. That's how it appears. But then there's another way of looking at life. So, but this is not a competition. There isn't. We don't. There's a reality that is not where for the one to live, the other one has to die. For the one to thrive, the other one has to be vanquished and controlled and denigrated. There's almost like a way of looking at the world which sees the world not as a great competition, life not as a great competition, but a great collaboration. Of things working together. Now, the fundamental truth of these two possibilities is that, in fact, this view that life is all about the great competition, life is all about dog eat dog, that view is fundamentally false. Which is why in Quran we are repeatedly admonished to reflect. Things are not as they appear. This world has been set up to appear as if for life to live it has to kill. Life requires to eat life, apparently. Things can't exist together. Yet, even in terms of Judeo-Christian thinking, there is a time when the lion and the lamb will lie together. They will not eat each other. It'll be one thing. So this place is constructed on an illusion. Why did Allah create this bizarre realm, which is apparently so opposite to His nature? Well, if we reflect, we recognize that it's not actually as opposite as it seems. That something which at one level seems as if it's war, it's animosity and conflict, at another level might be actually functional. If you go right down to the very small, what happens inside your body, there's ongoing warfare going on in your body. Your white blood cells are busy attacking things that are coming into you on an ongoing basis. But that is in your interest at a higher level. So what looks like dysfunction at one level is actually function at a higher level. There's this very clever woman called Din Margolis who had this view that said, no, but you don't account for speciation, you don't account for things being alive on the basis of competition. Every ecosystem, nothing exists outside of an ecosystem. And every ecosystem is a collaborative thing. One thing enables something else. So there's another way of looking. If you spend a little bit of time, you just take a step back from the immediacy of how things appear, you recognize that you're not looking at a thing of competition. You aren't looking at a thing of dog eat dog. You're looking at the reality of oneness and of connectedness and of love. That reality that we have come from, that we're going to, is in fact the fundamental reality of this realm also. It just doesn't appear to be like that. Every spiritual tradition in the world gives its adherents a charge. And it's a very similar charge. The charge is, make below as it is above. Be of the select. Bring into this realm of apparent suffering and of conflict and of alienation, bring into it love. Bring into it, be the ones who demonstrate that there's another way of being. And that other way of being is more robust, it's more true, and it's more fundamental than this apparent way that we see now, which is all about competition and dog eat dog. These two ways of assuming the nature of life, that life is either the big cannibalistic war, or it is one where things actually work together and can work together. This is a very ancient distinction, and every human being struggles with this problem, as it has every group has struggled with this problem, every family struggles with this problem, every village struggles with this problem. Are we going to work together, or are we going to be at war? The fundamental truth is that we can live in such a way where my best interests and your best interests are not opposite. They're the same. And I make my best interests and your best interests the same by, in every situation that I'm in, acting in your best interest. Because I know that when I do that, you and I are connected. In other words, I affirm to myself that you and I are not opposites, we are one. We are part of a oneness. We demonstrate to each other love. That is making the down here, the below, as it is above. That is, in a sense, vindicating the reason for me why Allah created this realm of apparent suffering, this realm of apparent alienation and of separation, so that we can demonstrate that the opposite is the truth. You see, you can't demonstrate that the opposite is the truth if you're in it, if you're pickled in it. If, for instance, I mean, like you know, if you are have an experience where it is all blissful, it is all love, then to say it is all love and all blissful is almost meaningless. But if you're in a situation where it's apparently not the case, and then you affirm it, that means something. So Allah created a realm which is the opposite of apparently the opposite of His nature, so that we can demonstrate that He is. Because He wished to be known. You cannot know that if you're, it's like a fish doesn't know it's in water. You cannot know His reality if you're pickled in it. But if you're apparently separate from it, then you can start recognizing actually how extraordinary His reality is. So there's an immense purpose to being human. There's an immense purpose to this realm of apparent suffering. Not so that we should just join it and suffer and kill or be killed, so that we can demonstrate that even in this realm, the opposite is the truth. May Allah grant us nearness to Him. May He grant us annihilation in Him. May He grant us death before we die. Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusallu ala nabi ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammadin abdika wa rasulika nabiyina wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallim taslima. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.